he seems like a confused little kid to me, to be honest. Now he's willing to get in, so I'm not, you know, I don't know what'll happen. It's not on the radar at the minute with the young lad. I know I have a teammate that him and Dylan have been back and forth, so you never know.
Some bloggers make a lot of money. Okay, what they bring on the table? They bring so many views. They bring so much on the table.
And you know, if it, as they say, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. I know Dana and the UFC are not really into it, but you know, I'm not so against it.
He's just calling everybody out. That way he gets the clout for it, he gets the recognition, he gets everybody saying, wow, he's looking for tough challenges, but then he doesn't actually accept.
Canelo, scared. Nate or Nick Diaz, whichever one wants it. Kamaru, Disney Channel, Usman, Timmy Fury, Conor McGregor.
You know, I see him calling out Canelo and stuff. That's all for clout. You know, he won't get in there with Canelo or guys like that, or some of those MMA guys that he's calling out that are actually mean. You know, like him saying that he could go with Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier will break his jaw, will torture him. Well, these are guys just like me that we made a living off this. We didn't make a living off going to parties and networking with people. We don't talk about that either. We love the fight. That's what we do. He has to stay away from those guys.
We got this Mickey Mouse Clubhouse kid that's this Disney kid over there that's fighting, that's kind of picking off, you know, just guys that aren't necessarily fighters, and he's starting to think that he's a fighter, and that's just kind of like the stage that we're in now. You know, it's these YouTube kids picking fights with professional actual fighters, because it's almost like a no-lose situation for them. Because they go in there and get beat up, they still make a lot of money. And so that kid is kind of getting dangerously close to taking me to that violent place, because he has no business, you know, mentioning my name in his mouth, but he's doing that. And now he's putting up pictures of me and my family, to where it's starting to slowly shift to that dangerous place, to where it could be a problem wherever I see him.
So I was sitting at the table and somebody said, oh, Jake Paul's here. So I look behind me and he's like making faces at me and waving at me. He's like waving at me and making faces. I'm like, what in the world is happening? He's like, he's heckling me.
Right.
He's heckling me. He's like a troll, but like a famous troll. It's all I can think about. It's like, this guy's like being like so ridiculous. Like, I need to tell him something. So I just walk over there and I said, hey, I'm not gonna play your games. I go, don't mess with me. I wanted to grab him by the face and smash him into the ground, but I can't do that at work. I would have gotten into a lot of trouble. This kid wants to fight. Okay, I'll fight him, but it'll be a mixed martial arts competition. If he wants to actually fight with me, fight him in mixed martial arts, and then I'll fight him all the way down at 205. This is not going to be fun. I'm telling you right now, at 42 years old, bad back and everything, I'm going to torture him and I'm going to hurt him. And then he can go back to fighting these YouTube kids.
There's guys in the company, in the UFC, there's bantamweights that would eat this kid up, you know. And so for him to start mentioning that, I took it personal. The fact that first, I took it kind of personal, the way they tried to punk Tyron Woodley backstage. I did take that a little personal. And then now you fast forward it to where now he's talking to DC a certain way, which DC is one of our guys. Who in MMA does not love Daniel Cormier? So to bring it there, that's just there's a level of disrespect that these guys don't understand, and that's the first lesson that we're taught in martial arts is respect.
I love my legacy, and I will protect my legacy. And if protecting my legacy means I got to smack this kid upside his head, that's what I have to do. Next time, you better hope next time I'm not at work. You better hope next time you see me, I'm at work. Because if I'm not at work, then I will grab him by the face. I'm destroying him. You playing around in Lafayette, Louisiana at this point. I mean, you don't want to go play around in Lafayette, Louisiana with me.
You know, DC definitely loves the ESPN job. That's why he did smack him. Because if he didn't care about that job, he was slapped. You know, that's like, at the end of the day, that's Daniel Cormier, one of the best to do this. And Jake Paul needs to put some respect on his name when he even speaks about DC. They're not even in the same realm. And so that's not even something that I would entertain. I wouldn't even allow DC to entertain that. DC, sit down. Let me take care of that for you. Let me take care of that.
They're gonna hype up this little Snake Paul like he's some great fighter and great boxer when he's really nothing more than an amateur joke. And that little YouTube kid, the kid with the little pubes on his face, Snake Paul.
Keep building this guy up like he's a real fighter. Jake Paul is not a real fighter. He's an amateur, he's a scrub, he's a bum, and he's gonna keep fighting more bums.
When you say real fighter, and especially to me, I'm thinking of real fighters. I'm thinking of guys that made a living solely off this, and those guys are mean. Those guys only know this. You got to keep him away from that and keep building him and keep building him.
I think what rubs people the wrong way is when you haven't faced the level of opposition, you know, as far as professionals, to really call yourself, you know, you're one of the best to do this, and then you're saying, oh, I'm one of the greatest, I'm good at this. When you start doing that, I think that's what rubs people the wrong way, to where people are, you know, starting to have that, you know, disdain for you. They're just like, oh, you're not a real fighter.
I've had some kids at my gym go that he's used, you know, and paid to go do sparring rounds with him, and all these kids come back and they're like, yeah, that kid is a Disney fighter. He's not a real fighter. He's an amateur. You know, there's a reason he's, you know, a star of Disney and the YouTube comments king, because he's not a real fighter.
I'm just sick to death of seeing all these young guys and whatever's just calling out to YouTube star. I got no hate for Jake Paul. Fucking made an absolute killing off YouTube, and now he's making an absolute killing off whatever this call out he's doing. Fair play to the geezer. Listen, the guy's making a lot of money and he's making a lot of a good name for himself, so what? I'm not too bothered, mate. The guy looks like he can box and looks like he's training hard.
All right, forget all the YouTuber stuff. The man can fight. He knocked out Ben Askren with one punch pretty much. Knocked out Nate Robinson. All right, these aren't fighters, but still he's got knockout power. He's applying himself. There's people in the boxing world that stand by him and say, listen, the guy has hands.
I don't know, maybe he's good. I don't think so. I think I just didn't defend the overhand right really well, and maybe he does land that punch hard.
Come on, Ben. Come on, Ben. You let this boy do you like that, man. Come on, man. Somebody got to do something about this Jake Paul, man.
Uncle Dana needs to send me over there, do a little one-off for the UFC, just to do the MMA community a favor, man. Because I feel bad for all the MMA community having to deal with this guy, thinking he's a real fighter, talking shit to all the fighters. You know, let's just end him, and then we can come back and get to normal life in MMA.
He appears to be a pretty person. I think, and I've had some people tell me, I literally asked them, I said, well, come on, just on TV or in real life? You know, and like, no, in real life too. But I don't know him in real life. I've never met him. I've never spent time with him, so I don't know for sure.
I meet him in the hotel, and I'm just like, because I handle all these cameras and whatnot. And then later on, I pull up to his house for a party, and then talking to him, like, you kind of realize, oh, you're a fan, because he's quoting a lot of my interviews and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, you're like a real fan. And he's a cool kid. Like, without all the cameras and stuff, he was cool. He was chill.
I love how much shit Jake talks.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it makes that fight so much more interesting. Jake's improving a lot. He's a young kid. He's athletic. He's taking it fucking serious. And he's improving a lot.
I'll tell you what, for his size, man, he's got decent hand-eye coordination. Now, can I say he's legit? Hitting the bag, he looks smooth. Hitting the pads, he looks smooth. And in sparring, he's done some things that look good. But boxing is about fighting, man. So legit to what level? Like, are you talking about him fighting with Zab Judah? No, he's not gonna beat Zab Judah.